Hi, my name is Ian and my Do Something and Report It is on biodiesel. Biodiesel is a renewable fuel source made from either used or new oil. Biodiesel can be used in any unaltered diesel engine, preferably in newer vehicles past the mid-1990s. Biodiesel is very safe. In fact, it is even edible, and if it were to be spilled, the oil would not harm the environment. Biodiesel is very simple to make and can be made spending little money, since the used oil can be collected from restaurants and fast food chains for free. To make biodiesel ends up only costing about $1 per gallon. Another benefit is that there are less greenhouse gases produced from biodiesel than regular diesel fuel. All that is required to make biodiesel is pretty much any type of oil, methanol, and lye. For my Do Something and Report It, I will be making a small batch of biodiesel using 500 milliliters of oil, 100 milliliters of methanol, and 4 to 5 grams of lye, or sodium hydroxide in this case. I will show you the steps to making biodiesel and the end results.
Now I'll be walking you through the chemicals and the setup for making biodiesel. Over here we have 100 milliliters of methanol that we got from using heat, which is a fuel additive. We have our 100% lye, this is actually sodium hydroxide. You can use potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide. We're going to be mixing the lye with the methanol to make methoxide. And we have our 100% vegetable oil. We also have safety goggles and rubber gloves for safety. So these are all the ingredients that we need to make biodiesel. Now over here we have the oil heating up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temperature we're going to want to mix the methoxide with the oil. Once the oil is at 130 degrees, we're going to remove it from the heat before mixing the methoxide with the oil, because the reaction will generate heat and we don't want it to get too hot. So we're going to get the rest of it ready and come back when we're ready to mix it together. Now we're ready to mix our 4 to 5 grams of lye with our methanol to make methoxide. Now we're going to want to let this sit for a while and make sure that the lye is fully dissolved into the methanol. Otherwise, any leftover chunks of lye will make soap. So we're going to want to make sure that that's going to be fully dissolved in there before we add it to the vegetable oil. So we're going to give that time to set and dissolve, and then we'll make some biodiesel. Alright, we've given the lye enough time to dissolve in the methanol to make methoxide, and the oil is at the right temperature, so now we're going to mix the two. We're going to stir it a bunch and make some biodiesel. Alright, take this and we're going to pour it in here. Now we should see a color change as it starts to turn into biodiesel, but we're just going to keep stirring and hope for the best. So I'm going to keep stirring, and we'll come back when it's done.
Now that we've given our biodiesel solution about 10 to 15 minutes to settle, we can take a look at the results. The top layer is our biodiesel, and the thin layer of darker, thicker liquid at the bottom is glycerin. Glycerin is the waste product when making biodiesel. It can either be recycled or it can be made into soap using more lye and vegetable oil. Now, the biodiesel in this jar has to go through one additional phase before being used. Water must be added to the biodiesel and then separated out, and the biodiesel needs to be allowed to dry before using it in a vehicle. But this is pretty much the final state that biodiesel will be in before being used. And it didn't take very long to make, and it wasn't very hard to make. So that is how you make biodiesel.